So isn't it true that we need female doctors? Isn't it true that we need women who will go to medical school and they will learn medicine and then they will serve Muslim women? Isn't that what we need? This is an argument that's always brought up when we talk about women's education. What about the women doctors, right? This is the point that feminists always want to bring up, or not necessarily feminists, also people who are curious and are wondering about the implications of this kind of de-emphasis or discouraging of women going to college. So there are some stats on this. A brother helped me look up some stats, a brother who's actually a doctor himself. And he said that, okay, let's just assume that we have this fard kifaya. Fard kifaya, it's a communal obligation where we need female doctors, Muslim female doctors. So in terms of statistics, in the United States, other countries are comparable, but basically you have about 34,000 OBGYNs, female doctors, or doctors for females rather, 34,000. And this means that according to the whole population, there are almost 3 OBGYNs for 10,000 women. So even if we assume that every single OBGYN doctor is a woman, that means there are 3 OBGYN doctors, female doctors, for every 10,000 women. Okay? So that's the ratio, 3 to 10,000 in the current US population. So if this is a fard kifaya, it can be accomplished by we only need 0.0003%. 0.0003% of our daughters to get this kind of medical education. So it is so small of a percentage that we need of our women to get this fard kifaya satisfied. Only 0.0003%. So why would we push education, push all of our daughters, all of our women to go to college, to go to medical school, to spend their most fertile years, their most marriageable years, the years where they're at the peak of their marriageability and their marriage market value, so to speak? Why would we push all of our daughters into that just so that we get 0.0003% doctors, female doctors? So if we want to meet this fard kifaya, shouldn't there be better ways than pushing our daughters into college where they're going to fall into apostasy, liberalization, all kinds of social and personal problems? College can be a very traumatic place for many Muslim women, by the way. Okay, she talked about rape. She said that, rape is not important for the kuffar. Oh, wait, wasn't she the one who said that non-Muslims are not automatically kuffar, yet she's calling all of the US, we don't care about kuffar, what the kuffar say? That was another contradiction that I didn't point out. But she doesn't care about kuffar getting raped. I mean, outrageous statement just by itself. But there is a lot of rape that happens on college campuses. This is terrible. This is bad. This is something that Muslims should be shocked by and should realize that this is what is happening in colleges. Why would I send my daughter to that kind of environment? Why would I send my daughter to that kind of environment? So this, there's all kinds of other solutions for meeting this fard kifaya that doesn't require going down the lizard hole, basically following the West in a kind of inferior, servile way, obsequious way into the lizard hole with the kuffar, because this is how they do it. They have their daughters sent to colleges and universities, and we've already said all of the bad things that are associated with that, the destruction that's associated with that kind of women's education. Why? We can meet the fard kifaya of healthcare for women without falling into that trap, without that kind of tragedy. Salah says in the super chat, what do you think about some women pursuing a career in the medical field to assist other women like doctors and nurses? See, this is like a meme at this point. Like, we can't talk about women's education without people mentioning doctors. And what about female doctors? What about, so I've addressed this in the actual debate, and we'll just talk about it now since you sent the super chat. But first of all, are women required to see female doctors in life, in life-threatening situations? That's debatable. If there is no female doctor available and a woman her health is in danger and she's dying, then this is daruri situation. It's a necessity that she'll have to see a male doctor if the male doctor is all that's available. So that's point number one. Point number two, even if we say that, okay, there's some kind of fard kifaya, like a communal obligation, that we have female doctors who will see female patients, fine. That's no problem. We can accommodate that. Imagine the scenario that I mentioned before. You have these Muslim women or Muslim girls, your daughter, for example. You put her in a madrasa to memorize Quran, memorize hadith, learn fiqh, learn how to pray, learn tahara. From age 4 until she's 13, she gets married at age 13, 14, 15, 16. Then while she's married, you have very tailored programs, okay? And then through the madrasa education, you have scores, right? You have different kinds of grading. So the girls that score the highest, and they're in the top 1% or the top 0.5%, after they're married, you give them the option that would you like to contribute to the medical care of the country or of the ummah within that small percentage, 1%. And presumably some of them will say, sure, we want to pursue this kind of medical care for the ummah. So then you have this kind of program that accommodates child rearing, accommodates being a good wife, accommodates being a housewife, basically. But you're able to get the medical knowledge necessary to provide medical care and be a doctor, a female doctor. You get the female doctors that you want in such a system, but it doesn't involve sending all of our daughters to college, sending all of our daughters into this university system, empowering them to be strong, independent women, just so that some of them will decide to become doctors and serve the ummah. Why can't we have that? Why can't we set up that kind of system? If we're really concerned about having these female doctors, then there are ways to get that without endangering the modesty, the iman, and the health of the community through modern education. So there's a solution that doesn't involve, like, this kind of mindset is backwards. Like, okay, we need women's doctors, female doctors. The only way we can get female doctors is through the modern education system. Therefore, the modern education system for women is required. This is not a very logical way to think.
السلام عليكم. لا تنسوا الاعجاب بالفيديو والاشتراك في القناة تشجيعا لنا لنستمر بنشر المزيد إن شاء الله.